And welcome back. I'm Emily, and today we are going to play with some Magic Project Life cards. I found these the other day in the clearance area of Tuesday morning, so I thought I would give them a fun little go. So I am going to be using my awesome watercolor set that I got years ago from Michael's. I love it. It just keeps on going and going. What makes these magic, you might ask? There is some kind of treatment on these water paper cards that doesn't let you paint in those areas. You used to be able to find these all the time a couple years ago, I feel like, and I was really excited. I found these just in a pile. So I am just doing some kind of an ombre effect here. I'm spraying some water on the paper to just kind of help things move. With these magic cards, you want to kind of wipe off because it's just like if you sprayed water on top of like wax paper, the water would bubble. So the paint bubbles on top of the part that's treated. So I really had a great time doing this. It was really, really fun, and I am on the hunt now to find some more. So I am really doing a lot of pinks and purples on this one. I'm just feeling the pinks and the purples, and I added a little bit of blue. This ended up being one of my favorite kind of effects. I do like to pat down just to kind of blur in the colors. I love the print that is showing up on my messy mat. It's so much fun. So this one is really sweet. I'm just using kind of the water I'm using on the right to clean the brushes and then using that paint. Watercolors are so much fun. If you've never used watercolors, it's a really inexpensive mixed media to like have fun with, and it's very hard to mess up really unless you add too much water or too much paint. You can't mess it up. So here I am just kind of making light brush strokes all over. The brush that I'm using is this really cute like mermaid brush I got on Amazon. I got a whole bunch of them. They're just really fun and sweet. I mean, I go through brushes pretty quickly. I'm pretty rough with them. So when I was in college, I was an art major, and I took a painting class where I realized that I am terrible at painting, but I love doing it. I am horrible at painting. It's really, I made the worst like fruit in the world. It was so ugly. My teacher was like, you might want to stick to abstract, which I agree with. So I really like doing just kind of fun brush strokes, and I did some splatters there. This one really has a ton of that magic-y waxiness to the card. So I'm using a lot of just the water that's on the side that I'm just using to clean my brushes. So I'm mixing and matching and trying to make some fun colors to just kind of add to this. And this one's this is like a little bit of a mermaid card here. So I'm inspired by my brush. I think that's why most of these are the same colors of my brush, because I was like, oh, my brush is so cute. So then I am dabbing them off. You want to make sure you get all of those little waxy areas because the water and the paint just pools on top of them. You do need to be really careful with these where the cutouts are, because like the M where it's really like a sharp little angle, it did kind of try to bend a little bit. So I had to kind of play with it. My next card, I really loved how it turned out. I was just kind of doing some random lines, and then I filled it in with this blue color that I had made. And I think it really turns out really fun and just kind of swirly. Is that the right description of this? And I'm just kind of blending them in a little bit with some other colors. The whole point of this is just to kind of have fun. So this one is by far my favorite card. So in my head, I was like, okay, I'm going to individually do all these little diamonds. And then about like 7 diamonds in, I was like, this is really boring. I'm tired of doing this. And there's so many of them. So I'm just trying to use some of that leftover watercolor on the side. And then I start doing some other colors. But I get right about now is when I get really bored of doing this. And I'm just like, oh, I'm so over this. And then I start using some pinky colors, and I am not feeling it. It just doesn't, it looks sloppy. So I start trying to figure out what else I want to do. This one gets real sloppy. I use too much water there. And I'm just over this little thing that I've committed to. So I've just kind of decided after I do this kind of corally color that I made, which I actually really, really like, that I'm going to just fill in rest of them. And I love how this turns out. So I'm using my lightest pink, and the paper, I mean, it's dry because it's watercolor and it like dries really, really fast. But I blended the colors and it turned out so cool. So these are little 3x4 cards, and they don't have any magic on them except for that they're watercolor paper. But I just was playing around with these watercolor papers. When you use regular watercolor paper, the difference is, so like if you have just a regular piece of cardstock that is not treated with that gesso, it'll just absorb all the water and all of your paper will tear. So watercolor paper has just like a gesso layer on it. This one's got kind of a yellowy finish to it. But when you use that, the watercolor kind of, it doesn't absorb as quickly into the paper. So the thing about watercolor paper is you don't want to mess it too much or it will start peeling. So like that top layer of protectant will start tearing down a little bit. So you want to kind of work fast. You don't want to go too hard. You don't want to add too much water, and you want to let things kind of dry in between. So I am patting things dry, and I really am trying to accent the layer that's in the paper. So here I'm just using that leftover paint that's on my mat, and it actually turned out really cute. And then I'm going to promptly cover it, most of it up. So I like to do a lot of layers with the watercolors. I think it just adds a little bit of fun. And this one, I feel like I do use a little bit too much paint. I feel like I got a little bit of a peeling, but that's okay. So I let it dry and then I add a little bit more. But I mean, it's mostly purples and blues. This one, I just love purple and blue together. They're so pretty. I'm feeling the mermaid stuff. Speaking of mermaid, we went to Sam's Club today and we got my daughter this awesome mermaid bedspread. It was fantastic. So I think that's why I'm in the mermaid mood today. So I'm just adding some just plops of paint all over, and I keep plopping it. I'm using just like a rag that we have that we usually kind of clean with. It's kind of like a chamois. What are those called? I don't know. It's early in the morning when I'm doing this voiceover. So I like how that one turned out. It's really, really fun. Now look at me. I'm using oranges and reds. It's really, really exciting. This one does not go with the other cards, but that is totally fine because I'm not using these all together. This will just go in my box of Project Life cards. Would anybody like to see how I kind of organize my Project Life cards? If you do, comment down below. I'd like to know if you have any requests for videos, please tell me. I have a whole little spot in my creative binder that I have for any video requests, and I've been trying to do any that people have been requesting pretty quickly. So I do play with my water with this a lot. I like to add water to the cards, and it kind of helps blend things. I love that how that red and that orange turned out. And then I did another orange. This one is orange and blue. I think I did some purple. And this turned, I mean, you could leave it like this and the colors would be really, really vibrant. But I do like to have a little bit of a softness to it. So I do add more water and then blend it down. And I think I had the best time today. It was really, really, really fun. This was a good stress relieving, fun activity. So now I'm going to start showing you all the ones I made. It's very quickly. And thank you so much for watching. I had a wonderful time doing this. It was really, really fun. I've been kind of in a little slump lately, so this has been a great way to kind of get me out of it. If you have any questions, put them down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you soon. Bye.